Tonight on To The Point, the death toll rises on Maui. More search teams head to burn areas. Tourists share their survival stories. Only one officer patrols it. People living near Highway 160 near Clarksburg are concerned. And decriminalizing magic mushrooms. Why California could be next. Good evening. We start with breaking news. The highway wildfire in Nevada County is forcing evacuations. The fire has burned at least 30 acres. The highway fire is burning in and around an area named Washington. This is just north of Highway 20, not far from Nevada City. Several campgrounds are in this area. Our Luke Cleary joins us live with more on the firefight. Good evening, Luke.
Hey Alex, yeah, we're coming to you live from the scene of a really dramatic and incredibly impressive firefight. CAL FIRE bringing air resources. You can perhaps see some of them up in the sky behind me. Yeah, there's a Huey helicopter just doing a water dump there. But we've probably seen more than a dozen large air tanker drops of fire retardant and helicopter drops of water, all in the name of fighting this what we now know as the highway fire. The latest information that we have from the Forest Service is that this fire is now at 25 acres with 5% containment. But I have to tell you, just from the eyeball test, it's looking much better than when we arrived on scene about an hour and a half ago. It does appear as though the air attack is helping significantly. There's an evacuation order for the town of Washington, a town with a population of about 140 people, but there are a lot more people in this area than that because this is a popular camping area. Fortunately, this didn't break out, say, on a Saturday, maybe 3 weeks ago before school was in session, so there may be fewer people out there than there actually would be. I've been speaking with a number of folks who have had to evacuate from the camping sites and from the town of Washington itself. One family telling me that someone came to them, an official let them know that there was a fire, and then not more than 5 minutes later they told them it is time to get out of here. They had to leave their tent and their camper behind. They took one vehicle out of here, and now they're kind of waiting with us at this staging area where we can get a vantage of the firefight playing out in the sky in front of us. They told us that, yeah, it's disappointing to have to leave all your stuff behind, but given the fact that there's just one road in and out of those popular camping areas, their thoughts of Lahaina are not far from people's minds, and the images of the burned out cars stuck on Front Street, it's a really evocative image, and nobody wants to see a repeat of that here. So the firefight continues here. There is a fire information number I want to share with you. That's 530-264-8309. That's where you can call to get the latest numbers in terms of containment and acreage. We're going to continue to monitor this, Alex, and we'll bring you the latest updates on air and online at abc10.com. But for now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Luke. Please be safe out there. Further north, lightning sparked several fires yesterday in Siskiyou County. This is being called the head fire. There are evacuations and road closures in the area around Eureka. Our Carly Gomez is tracking the fire danger. Right, Carly?
That's right. I've been tracking a lot of the thunderstorms pushing through areas, not just where Luke was right now, but also areas in further northern California, where areas around Happy Camp as well. Highway 199 closed from California up into Oregon to Cave Junction. But here we've been tracking from Quincy. A special weather statement was just issued and expired now for areas around Quincy. You just noticed how many lightning strikes are being pushed through that area. We'll have to keep our eye on that, make sure nothing does take off or start a new fire there. Now, as we take a look at where Luke was, just around Washington, the fire there, we haven't seen very many lightning strikes, maybe one slightly before that, just toward the south of Blue Canyon earlier today. But as for this one, I haven't been able to track any actual lightning strikes hitting that direct area. So we'll have to see exactly what the cause of that fire was. Of course, with wildland and environmental fire factors, you need the wind, which we're lacking right now, stability, temperature, and relative humidity. With temperature, right now, it is very hot out there, very dry as well. Terrain creating a big aspect for firefighters, but look how dry it still is for those foothill spots. We're looking at about 20% relative humidity now, so making that firefight difficult, but hopefully they can get that contained.
Thanks, Carly. Hundreds of people protested outside the state capitol this afternoon. They are against a bill that would ban employers from forcing their staff to confront active shoplifters or criminals who may be armed. Some small business owners worry that this would lead to more shoplifting, and they say that hiring security guards would cost too much.
Bills are saying that this is in protection of the employees, but it only protects the shoplifters. We believe this bill is going to increase the shoplifting.
Stop this nonsense. Pass a bill to protect the small businesses, not the criminal.
The bill is supported by the United Food and Commercial Workers Labor Union, which represents retail workers, among other industries. They say workers have been screamed at, beaten, and even murdered on the job. State lawmakers now have less than a month to pass bills. One bill hanging on could decriminalize a handful of psychedelic drugs like magic mushrooms. Becca Habegger explores who is for it, who is against it, and what comes next.
My name is Jason Moore Brown. I live in Placer County with my beautiful wife and 5 children. I'm a decorated Army officer and a combat veteran.
Brown testified recently in favor of a bill that would decriminalize certain natural hallucinogens.
I deployed 3 times in support of the global war on terror from 2000 to 2008, receiving 2 Bronze Star medals for my actions.
He says he returned from war with post-traumatic stress disorder and recently sought treatment through the guided use of hallucinogens.
As hard as the last 15 years have been on my family and me, I consider myself fortunate. Many of my brothers and sisters have succumbed to the darkness, never having found the therapeutic benefit of the plant medicines this bill will decriminalize.
But this bill drew emotional testimony on both sides.
I've personally experienced the devastating consequences of psilocybin and believe it would be dangerous and irresponsible to allow their unregulated recreational and widespread use.
Lisa Hudson is a Bay Area mom whose 16-year-old son died in 2020 after he took magic mushrooms and, while hallucinating, ran off the family's deck.
Shane was a vibrant and ambitious young man with a bright future ahead of him, but his experimentation with psychedelic drugs led to his untimely death.
She's part of a group called the Coalition for Psychedelic Safety and Education. They say they're not totally against the decriminalization of these substances, but they say this bill goes too far, too fast, with not enough safety regulations.
California should lead in decriminalizing the possession and use of these substances.
The bill's author, Democratic State Senator Scott Wiener of San Francisco, says SB 58 would decriminalize personal possession and use of 5 non-synthetic hallucinogens.
Psilocybin, psilocin, DMT, mescaline, and ibogaine. The bill only applies to people 21 and older, and it also does not decriminalize the sale of these substances.
While magic mushrooms are illegal in most of the country, Colorado and Oregon are currently the only states that have fully decriminalized their use, while 4 other states have decriminalized the drug within certain cities, including Oakland and Santa Cruz here in California.
Becca Habegger with us now. What happened to the bill in today's hearing?
Well, at a hearing of the Assembly Appropriations Committee this morning, members placed this bill, along with more than 100 others, on something called the suspense file. Now, we'll learn in another hearing in coming weeks whether those suspense file bills continue on in the legislative process or are dead for the session. Now, Senator Wiener proposed a similar bill in 2021, but it died in the legislative process. Now, Alex, the senator cites a new study from UC Berkeley. It shows 61% of registered voters in the U.S. support legalizing regulated therapeutic access to psychedelics, and 49% support removing criminal penalties for personal use and possession, which is what this bill would do.
And we'll be following this. All right, thank you, Becca. A new deadly drug warning. Xylazine, also known as Tranq, is in our area. It's found in pills, powder, and needles. Butte County just found it by testing people in their rehabilitation program.
The individual was actively seeking xylazine from his dealer. The other 2 didn't know that xylazine was in their system. It was a shock to them.
Tranq is also called the zombie drug because it eats people alive. There is no cure if someone ODs. Narcan will not work. A man seen with a knife on a light rail train was shot and killed by police. We first brought you this story as breaking news yesterday. The shooting happened near Sacramento City College. The man died at the scene. No officers were hurt. And the search is on for the person or people who slashed cars' tires in the middle of the night. At least 11 cars were targeted along the street or in the driveways on Douglas Road in Stockton's Lincoln Village neighborhood. People are spending hundreds of dollars on new tires. Coming up onto the point, tourists in Lahaina surviving the deadly fire by jumping in a pool as buildings burned around them.
Highs today at 105 in Sacramento, 107 in Marysville, 106 in Stockton. How long we'll be dealing with this triple-digit heat?
And if you've been to Clarksburg, you have driven along it. Highway 160 used to be a rural road. Only one officer patrols it, leaving neighbors concerned. The highway fire in Nevada County continues to force evacuations. Crews are fighting this fire in the air in an area called Washington. At least 30 acres have burned. The fire is burning north of Highway 20. People evacuating can head to Madeline Helling Library. Animals can be taken to the Nevada County Fairgrounds. We do have more information about the evacuation zones up right now at abc10.com. Carly, these conditions making it prime for wildfires right now.
They are. We're seeing a lot of lightning strikes currently in those foothills and Sierra spots, as we will continue to see that for the next couple of days. Thunderstorms creating new fires north as well. Areas around Quincy have been seeing a lot of thunderstorms as well as lightning strikes, hoping we don't see anything catch fire, but also we've been tracking a few as well earlier in the week. Now, hot temperatures are going to continue with triple digits through Thursday, but we do cool down as we start approaching the weekend on Friday in the low 90s. Right now in the Big Mountain backyard, upper 90s. Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto at 97 and 98 degrees. Still hot in Marysville at 102. 70 in Tahoe as they are seeing some showers along with those thunderstorms pushing through. And we do have a heat advisory in effect from Redding down to Bakersfield, and that is until Thursday, 11 p.m. For the excessive heat warning till 11 p.m. tonight, this is what we're seeing from Clear Lake up north all the way until you get to the Oregon-California border there, where they're also dealing with their own lightning strikes, heat advisories, and even areas with potential for fire danger as they're seeing a fire weather warning in effect along the border there. As we take a look, the thunderstorm chances do continue into Thursday as you're seeing most of the areas here from Placerville up toward Truckee and South Lake Tahoe. Now, I want to bring this up. We have a lot of moisture in the air, and these are thanks to tropical systems further south near Mexico. Fernanda has been bringing in a lot of moisture for ourselves today, but we are going to be tracking Hillary. Tropical storm Hillary expected to make its way up the coastline as a Category 3 hurricane into the weekend, and then by Sunday into Monday, bringing a lot of moisture into Southern California, which could even bring us those thunderstorm chances later on next week, even if we do see those cooling temperatures. Lower foothill spots in the mid to low 90s tomorrow, and we'll see temperatures right around those low 90s for the weekend to mid 90s into next week.
Next, on to the point. Tourists jumped in a pool to survive the Maui fires as buildings burned around them. It has been just over 1 week since fire blew through Lahaina. President Biden is expected to visit the popular tourist town on Monday. Tonight, the death toll is rising. 106 people are now confirmed dead, and that number is expected to rise. There is more than $5 billion in damage. Some people on Maui are asking people not to travel there, as the road to Lahaina is now back open to everyone. Searching for remains continues in the hardest hit area on the island of Maui. The historic town of Lahaina is decimated. It might take years to recover. New video from tourists in Lahaina show how they survived the fire by jumping in a pool as buildings burned around them. Tonight, FEMA says more than 700 personnel are deployed to the island. They provided over $2.3 million in assistance.
This is more than just the visual impact of what we're seeing on television, more than the visual impact of the burned landscape. It's the level of devastation from this fire and the feeling of loss from such a culturally rich community.
Additional search teams are heading to Maui, including an 80-member search and rescue task force from the East Coast. And the Maui Humane Society says about 3,000 pets are unaccounted for. Veterinary teams are treating at least 50 with burn injuries.
We have also seen severe burns, cats that look, I don't think that their owner may even know that it is their cat because they look so burnt.
People on Maui can use your help. You can make a Red Cross donation by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. So far, you have donated more than $13,000. If you do want to donate food, clothes, and everyday essentials, a local donation drive is underway right now at the Port of West Sacramento. The local longshoremen of Sacramento and Stockton are collecting the supplies to take to Hawaii. Donations are accepted at the Port's Harbor Boulevard entrance, and it wraps up around 8 tonight. What was once considered a rural road along the Sacramento River is now a thoroughfare for commuters. The spike in traffic is causing more dangers. One officer patrols this area along Highway 160, and there's a growing concern about safety. Our Jeannie Nguyen takes a closer look at their concerns.
For the last 55 years, Chris Folster has lived in this house in Walnut Grove.
See, I'm 91 years old, so I go slow.
Nowadays,
come Duck.
You'll find him hanging with his best friend, Doc.
You can have my wife, you can have my kids, but you can't have my dog.
While his life at home is relatively quiet, the same can't be said just steps from his property.
It used to be maybe 100 cars a day. Now there's 5,000 or 7,000 cars come through Walnut Grove.
Folster lives on Twin Cities Road, less than a mile from Highway 160. There's not much out here, but Folster says it hasn't stopped drivers from utilizing the narrow roads.
If you go to Walnut Grove, it's not very big. And I mean, they just don't pay any attention to double yellow lines.
To many locals around here, Highway 160 has become too dangerous. According to the California Highway Patrol, Highway 160 averages 100 crashes a year. Since 2018, the CHP says 39 people were killed as a result, with DUI and speeding being a part of the problem, some of those cars ending up in the Sacramento River. Just this February, 5 people were killed along Highway 160, the driver charged with DUI.
We love the traffic count coming through. It's just making that more of a safety issue. What can we do to help calm this stretch?
John Carvalho owns the Carvalho Family Winery and operates the Freeport Wine Country Inn right along Highway 160. While high traffic volumes is good news for him, he admits safety has been an issue and he's working on trying to figure out a way to fix it along with other community members. These small bumps in the road are meant to help drivers slow down. But we caught some drivers purposefully swerving to avoid them.
Stop signs, I mean, that's the number one. And then you have lights, traffic lights, and whether it's a roundabout, to slow down, because it can be really tough to be able to have law enforcement just be stationed. That's just not available.
The CHP is responsible for about a 50-mile stretch along Highway 160, all the way from Cosumnes River Boulevard to the Antioch Bridge. But in this large area, just how many officers are on patrol?
So we have 1 unit per shift, 24 hours a day.
Leaving residents feeling deadlocked on any progress to make the roads safer.
Nothing happens. It's just disgusting sometimes.
CHP Officer Mark Levitt says extra resources are sent to problem areas occasionally, but when it comes to having more units there on a regular basis, other areas take priority.
We have to put additional units, regular additional units out on the freeways, US 50, Highway 5, I-5, and State Route 99.
For the time being, the CHP encourages residents and business owners to continue to call them and county supervisors to voice their concerns.
We also deploy radar trailers throughout the Delta and move those around just to kind of get people's attention to slow down.
As far as the people driving recklessly on this road, the locals have a message.
Just respect, the speed limits, slow it down.
And they are still working to find a solution, but the CHP wants everyone to please continue to report any issues. A To The Point viewer brought these concerns to our attention, so if you want to reach out about our team over a concern in your neighborhood, make sure you email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. New housing is open to UC Davis students and their families. Orchard Park was designed for grad students and upper division students. This housing is part of the university's agreement with the city of Davis and Yolo County to have 15,000 more beds by this fall. This project has about 1,500 beds. The city of Sacramento broke ground on the new Broadway Complete Streets project today. The Broadway corridor is about to get a lot busier with construction, and this project will be adding bike lanes and wider sidewalks to Broadway. It will also take Broadway itself down from 4 lanes to 1 lane in each direction. Affordable housing units are also being built at the corner of Broadway and 19th Street. 51 apartments will go there, and some supportive services and retail space on the ground floor. Next on To The Point, a new Sacramento State president's message about campus safety. Sacramento State's new president is announcing new safety measures. Students start coming back to campus next week. Students marched through campus earlier this year, demanding better lighting and a stronger response to a string of sexual assaults. Our Chris Thomas walked the campus with the new president to talk about a new task force in the works.
We are launching a presidential task force on campus security. And what that task force is going to do is it's going to bring together our students, our faculty, our staff, and experts to come together and make recommendations for what the campus should be doing.
And you can catch the full interview tonight on Late News Tonight at 11. As always, let us know what's going on in your neighborhood. Send me and the team an email at tothepoint@abc10.com. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.